swag out there and boss. Look, is that bow
And
tie
welcome to
facing?
another episode of the Sartorial Geek
Good.
Podcast by
Kill
Webster
it.
Style, where we talk about bow ties, comic
I
books,
mean,
and
it's
everything in
me right
between.
here.
I'm your host, Webster Style, the man, the voice, the fragrance. And let's talk about the download. Now, this is one I've been excited for since I heard about this game. Actually, it's been about a year since the first reveal. And if you have not figured it out by listening to this podcast, I am a fan of horror movies, especially horror movies from the 70s, 80s, and even into the 90s, especially a lot of the classics. And one of my favorite horror movies of all time is actually surprisingly not part one, but the Texas Chainsaw Massacre part two. I love part one, but there's something about part two that just, I saw it first as a child and I watched it again in college, and the cerebralness of the movie, in addition to its campiness, it just really appealed to me. It was like my eyes were totally open when I watched this movie compared to when I saw it as a child. And part one is amazing, and it's amazing feat of storytelling. But seeing it as a child compared to seeing it as an adult, there was nothing really revealed. I think I just appreciated the movie and what was done a whole lot more than, say, part two. But I say all that to say this is the download. So, of course, we're talking about video games, and we are talking about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the video game. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, done by Sumo Digital and Gun Interactive. So these are the same folks that did the player versus player Friday the 13th game that came out a little while ago, which unfortunately is sunsetting at the end of next month, I believe, due to licensing issues. So if you are playing that game or have that game, play it now before you will not be able to play it again. But this is a 3 versus 4 action game where you can either take on the role of the Slaughter family or their victims in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's a third-person asymmetrical horror experience based on the groundbreaking and iconic 1974 film. Experience the mad and macabre for yourself in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now, based on some of the trailers, it looks like you're going to see a lot of different locales and maps based on not just the first movie, but the second movie as well. And I really love the differences between the two camps. I loved, at least based on what I've seen so far, if you're playing a member of the Slaughter family, there are also additional tasks that you have to do, like feeding grandpa or dealing with him and other aspects of the house while you're trying to kill the victims. And obviously with the victims, you're trying to get the hell out of there and not be dinner, both metaphorically and literally. But that's the exciting part for me, and I'm even more excited that it is not just only dropping on PS4, PS5, Xbox One S and X and PC, but it's dropping on Game Pass. So that's why I don't have to pay a dime to play it. So I'm looking forward to see how well it plays and if it really gives you that experience of trying to outwit the Slaughter family or play into your villain's side by being one of the Slaughter family, especially Leatherface, in this game. So I'm really excited for when this game drops. Time of this recording a few days from now on the 18th of August. Next up, we have the interview. Now, the interview is with someone whom loves coffee just as much as I too, and loves hip hop and music. I would say not saying just as much, but probably more, because that's what they actually do. And they've been in music and radio for years. And we are going next to our interview with the lovely, the talented bourgeois Latte. Check it out. And today we're joined by the lovely, the enigmatic, the also a coffee lover herself, World Geese Latte. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. And I know, unfortunately, you're not drinking any coffee today based on previous conversations, but I am drinking the Starbucks Anniversary Dark Roast. It took me
Okay.
forever to find this. Actually, I had to get it sent from Texas because no one had it in my area. After I had it once, my manager's like, "Oh yeah, you should get this." They didn't have it in the store. I couldn't find it anywhere, and it was just like poof, gone. And then a friend in Texas found it, and is like, they sent it to me. I'm like, great. So this is a good dark roast.
Because I want coffee so bad, but I've been sick, you guys, and it's not good to be having coffee. One, on an empty stomach, and two, when you've been sick. So, I'm a coffee lover, but I did talk to you about something before. I usually have a pour over if I don't have time to brew it myself, because I use a mocha pot a lot. So this is for people who don't know how to make a latte. So this woman, she owns it. Her name is a woman-owned company. She's Vietnamese, Debbie Mullen. She's the founder and CEO of Copper Cow Coffee. And no, I'm not part of a sponsorship. I'm not an ambassador or anything. I just, I like the fact that it's a woman that owns it. So it's kind of nice, to know that. And then it's just so cool because it makes the perfect cup. And then it has like pictures. And I'm like, this is so cool for somebody who don't know much about lattes.
Exactly.
But it shows you everything. It looks like a little tea bag. And then there's a cup. And then you kind of like have it hanging on the side of your cup. Isn't that cool?
Yes.
Well, some hot water, pour, and there you have it. You have your espresso, and then there's a little, I'll just show it to you, like a little latte creamer. It's milk and sugar.
Nice.
And you just pour it in. I thought that was so cool.
Another company, Everyday Coffee and More, they have they don't do the whole latte kit, but they have that similar pour over design as well for their single serve pour overs. And I know the owner, so I was used as a guinea pig a couple years back. And I'm like, oh, this is perfect. That sort of setup is absolutely perfect.
Yes. Look, I love being a guinea pig. What you want?
Same here.
Yes,
I will try anything. New flavor, I will try it.
Different flavors, just a churro,
Nice.
Vanilla, like a plain one. Man, you just have to try it. It's really good. I try to savor it. I have 2 more boxes left, and I'm like, I'm gonna take my time because
I understand. Because once you get some good coffee, you can go right through it and it's gone. I am literally trying to savor this signature roast since it was so hard for me to track it down. It's like I only have the one bag. I don't want to go through it, but I'm drinking it like every day.
Okay. How many mugs do you have? Or are you one? Are you that type? Oh, really? I thought only coffee lovers do that.
I have. It's interesting because mugs are one of the things that I've been given over the years. So I have like special mugs. Like I think most, like this was a gift. I have a Father's Day mug that I was given. Actually, it ended up being 3 mugs because they screwed up in the initial order, so they didn't send the mug that it was supposed to send. With the design, and it's one of those like disappearing picture mugs. So they sent a regular mug with the picture they had designed. So they ended up going back and having to resend it. And instead of sending 1, they sent it 2. So I got 3 additional mugs.
Oh.
I've gotten a couple just from business over years, as well as just other sort of gift things. So I have plenty of mugs to choose from when it comes to coffee. Yeah, a lot of mugs. All of them. Yeah, now I think all of them were part of gifts. Star Wars mugs, Marvel mugs.
Yeah, those are really good gifts. And I have like baristas, little barista cups, because when you drink lattes or cappuccinos, it tastes different. I mean, it's a lifestyle.
Yes.
You want to drink the latte or cappuccino, you better drink it in style and drink it right.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, we have some other cups here that are more toward that style as well. So there's definitely a difference in the style of cup to how it really impacts the flavor of the coffee also.
And it's just like music. Joie latte, that's how it kind of all started off, with latte and listening to some good music while you're sipping coffee. I think it's something our parents always done. It's something that I've seen growing up. My mom, Mom worked a lot. She was such a hardworking woman. And the only time I ever saw her so relaxed is when she had a cup of coffee and she's listening to a little, gospel music or a little jazz. And it's like she was a different person.
Right.
So I kind of see, lattes and music is a way of a lifestyle. And it's kind of therapeutic, too, at the same time.
Oh, I agree. I totally agree. There's something about a good cup of coffee just to kind of, you make sure you sit and savor it. And there's a sort of centering that happens because that's part of my morning routine as far as like sitting with my cup of coffee, even though it's a bit chaotic at Starbucks. I'm able to sit and center and shut everything out and just drink my coffee and enjoy it and focus on the day at hand. And it's especially since I've started doing that, I've seen a difference personally, just perspective, but also workflow also as well. It's something about it's that little bit of me time that you take.
Yes.
It was just something we just totally miss throughout our chaotic days of family and work and this and that. Just sitting down and having a cup of coffee. It's just that, 5-10 minutes of me time that really can set your day off on the right path.
And remember Sunday newspapers? I don't know if they still have that. Do they still have that?
They do. I don't think most of us use them anymore.
Right, but that's what made it so cool. I mean, men will go and sit down there, have a cup of coffee, and open up that Sunday newspaper. Some of these kids don't know how cool that was.
They don't. They really don't.
Yeah.
So what was, and before we get on to the Latte Java Drips Radio, so what introduced you to coffee, or who introduced you to coffee?
I think my mom. So I used to, wonder why she liked coffee so much. But you know what she used to do, though? She used to give coffee to my nieces and nephews when they were babies. I don't know. It's like she would a cup of little teaspoon and just give them a little bit of coffee. I don't know. I think that was just something that I thought was really special, And how I was one of those kids that was very observant. I will watch my siblings. I will watch my family, and my siblings they're a lot older than I am. So I remember those good times. I remember my mom, sipping coffee and giving coffee to the babies. And I've been drinking coffee since I was a teenager. So, I just thought it was something to do. It was like smoking cigarettes. It's like, okay, they smoking cigarettes. That must be a cool thing. I mean, you know what I mean? So I saw this. Okay, coffee. Okay, it must be a cool thing, but it tastes good.
Right. Exactly. For me, it was my great grandmother. She always had a jar of Taster's Choice. So that was her thing. And I'd sit there and drink a cup of Taster's Choice with her as a kid. So I started there, and just my love of coffee just grew, especially in college. Well, college, we're drinking coffee for different reasons, but still, yes. My love really grew there. And I think, but you know what, though? The benefit of that is with college and how I had to drink coffee sometimes, you get over the caffeine rush, and you start to be able to just really enjoy the flavors, enjoy the different types, and starting to experiment. Because I remember one time I was telling people, like, when I got over my caffeine, the caffeine doesn't really affect me. I was studying it was my chemistry final freshman year, and I don't know what they do now. This is back in the late 90s when I was in college.
Yeah.
They used to give us these final survival kits. And I made the mistake of, I had a 3-cup coffee pot on my desk. I made a mistake of drinking coffee, and they had Vibarin in the coffee pot, in the survival pack. Wasn't paying any attention. I got over any sort of caffeine effects after that night because I was like, the whole time. I passed the final though, so
hey, that's
a good thing.
Hey, you passed. That's a good thing. Hey, if it works, it works.
Exactly. So let's talk about Latte Java Drips Radio. How did you start it, and why did you start it?
I started off on Station Head, and Station Head is a radio app where you get to host your own shows. And I think their motto was like, you get to be your own host, or you get to be your own boss or whatever. And I think my daughter found it and was telling me about it. And I decided, let me just get on here and see what it is. And the cool thing about it is like, you get to pick music that you enjoy and save it to your station. So that's how it all started. But in my mind, I was like, okay, I got to make this into something really interesting, because before Station Head, I was on IMVU, but that's something totally different. And I was playing music, and I started to want to do shows. So start off like with Love Jones. I was talking about favorite soundtracks, and I think that drawn attention to my my station, because I was talking about, you know, old school music and how music was then. And I started to get a lot of views. And on Station Head, they have this thing every week. Whoever has the most listeners, they will announce them on Instagram. They will announce it on, they will have like a weekly show. And they will announce them and bring you up on the platform, and you talk and you introduce yourself and you let people know, you know, what you do and who you are. And I think because it was such a mystery, I was called Bourgeois Latte, and all you saw was this veil across my face and lips sipping coffee. And I think people were fascinated by it, like, okay, Bourgeois Latte, what's this? And I explained, well, it's a vibe. I'm having a latte and I'm listening to music and I'm interviewing people, and it started to grow. And then I started interviewing people. I started, and I created a show called The Cougar Club. It's funny. It turned out to be a joke. How it all started out, because I wasn't the cougar, but the women that were on my panel were cougars. Mm-hmm. So they would explain and talk about these dates they've been on, or there was one that was already involved with someone younger. So it became a really cool show. Then we had a guy, kind of called him the Jaguar, and he had his male point of view about cougar and relationships, and it grew. And things started to get a little shaky. I started to notice that some of my material was being used on other people's platforms, and it was from the big people, mm-hmm. that was doing, kind of using ideas of other people's, material. So I was thinking to myself, don't get me wrong, I love Station Head. I see that as a compliment. I accept that. I embrace that. But then I was thinking, I need to have my own.
Right.
And that's when I was thinking, okay, Latte Java Drips. So that's how Latte Java Drips came about. I've had Latte Java Drips Radio for 2 years now, 250 listeners a week. From the UK, a lot of people from Brazil, France, Canada. It's growing, and sometimes it gets a little slow. So, I have to be, the business part of it and the entertainment part of it. So it's been a challenge, but it's been great. And I'm getting some people on my team. I have some DJs that have music that they air. And then I'll start, I'm thinking about revamping the Cougar Club, because it was really popular. And if it wasn't for Cougar Club, I don't think I would have been able to get like Joshua Benoit. There's this artist, that wrote for Empire. So I started to like really grow. And I focused more on getting blue checks, because I was like, I wanted to stand out and be different from everyone else. This is when blue checks was like, okay, you get someone that's a blue check, you're on the right path.
Right.
That was kind of like my goal. I didn't think nothing of it. I didn't think it would be all that big. But then when I started to see that I was getting 26, K listeners, I'm like, whoa, okay, I have something here. Right. I need to continue this. So I became very passionate about it and kept going through, playing music and interviewing people. So yeah, that's how Latte Java Drip started.
Understood. Well, the passion is always really what you need to have to really push through. You talk about it's slow sometimes, but the passion really what gets you through. Now, speaking of passion, one of the things I've seen recently is that you had a contest really highlighting a lot of dope female artists. Is the sort of artist discovery piece a major component of what you're doing with the radio station at the moment?
Oh, absolutely. Because the 3 women that were contestants and won, They are on my website. So when you go to my homepage, you see the three women and you get to click on their track. You get to listen to their whole track. And the cool thing is they're already on Spotify. So it takes you directly to the Spotify playlist and it takes you to their EP. You get to listen to their whole album. You get to see who these ladies are about. And some people, it's really hard with this music industry because people feel like, well, if you don't have so many followers, if you don't have 10K followers, how can you help me? And I really don't think, they understand the business. And that's the problem with the music industry. Don't get me wrong. I thought about giving up because I was just like, they don't get it. You kind of want the 4K, 400, followers because I think the smaller, the better. Because you'll probably get 100 out of those 400 followers that's going to really listen to you. And most of the time, people buy their followers, and I'm not down for that.
Right. I remember, and I forget what artist it was. I feel like it might have been Ryan Leslie, and I saw something about him a few years ago where someone was asking him about major labels and albums, and he was talking about how he made, I think, 20,000, something like it was 5, maybe 6 figures off of whatever album he put out. And he said, I have a loyal fan base and I get everybody's information. I let them know when things are coming out. I let them know when I'm having a concert. So having a small loyal fan base like that will continually generate interest in your music and ultimately income. And it goes to what you were saying. It really is when you have that small but dedicated fan base, or even, you're working with individuals who maybe only have 400K followers or 400 followers. Those followers tend to be ones that are really enthusiastic about the platforms that they're dealing with. And that translates a lot to what sort of impact they have. I was told this by, one of my interviewees a few weeks ago, Brandy of the Audacious Femme, and we were talking when I went to her event. And she said to me, you may only have 1,000+ followers on Instagram or whatever, but she said to me personally, she's like, there are people who are paying attention to what you're doing, and there are people who are talking about what you're doing. And that is that how that small, really knit group really blows up. And I think artists, just like you said, focusing and working with those individuals can really yield greater dividends than, say, that person that has 250K. Because let's be frank, 250,000 subscribers or followers, the yield of really translating, or I forget the exact term, but translating that to, an equivalent, you may only get 1% of those individuals that actually check out a post or see a post. And then you have even smaller fraction of those that may actually go on to buy. Whereas with, a smaller creator, you probably have a higher conversion rate. That's the term, conversion rate, from someone who sees you. I know even, me following you, and when you posted the artist, I went to all of their pages. I followed several of them. I went and listened to them on Spotify because I saw your post, because I saw how passionate you were. I was like, okay, and also we've talked before, it was just some good music. And it's music that we don't hear a lot of today.
Yeah. Yes, I'm a little worried because now I'm doing a contest for the men. I started off late because it was very, I posted something. It was Kev on Stage. And I think he's in Dubai with Tabitha Brown and her husband. And they were out like in the sand and baby, I'm ready with Jodeci, and they acting the fool. And, back in the day, that was when men expressed love. And this one guy commented on my post, on my Facebook post, and he says, that was the time when women were worth loving, or something really worth begging for. They're not worth it anymore. I was just kind of like, okay. I said, okay, well then if you feel that way, then maybe you need to write a song about the pain of not receiving that love. you know, and
Right.
it worried me a little bit. And I was like, well, maybe this is not going to work because there's a lot of men out here that don't have that 90s feel. But I've got 4 so far.
Okay.
If I get 6 more, that will be perfect. That will be fine. It's kind of sad. It worried me because I thought it would be easier with the men.
Right. I find it interesting. You know, we've had what the Luke Jameses over the years. I think
Jeez.
there are a couple other ones that escape my mind that really fit into the category, but they're the exceptions, not the norm for what is contemporary male R&B nowadays. And I think back, and again, we are, you know, closer in age, back to the 90s. Like, Diver Mad Band is one of the greatest R&B albums ever. You know, I still bump all 3 of the first Drill albums all the time, and I will say this, and I'll use this as an example. So, Drew Hill's 3rd album, Drew World Order, there is a song called Old Love. And that song is so beautiful, but the song that really got me from that album that really kind of epitomizes that is a song called Millions. It's like millions didn't make it, but we're one of the ones who did. I'm so glad that we made it. Please be my wife and be one with me. And every time I hear this song, I'm like, this is what it is for a man to love a woman, to want to commit to her, to want to give everything to her. And he's so enamored, not even enamored, but he cherishes her so much. Like, I hear the song, and this song is 20 years old now. And it's just so, and this is before I got married and all that and all. So it's not even like, oh, I'm married and like, no, it's just such a beautiful song. But that is what R&B was like, say, 90, 92 to 2005 in many respects. You know, that's what that you had those crooners, you had those groups, you had really singing about love and emotion where it wasn't called simping to want to be with a woman. I just think of Jodeci's Cry for You, and I'm thinking of that song down in my head and how in 2023 a 20-year-old could hear that song and just like, why are they simping for some woman? Why? Like, there's such a change in perspective, and I never thought about how that change in perspective has directly impacted the sort of music we get in that vein. And it's very sad in many respects. While we could, you know, we could have the Summer Walkers, and well, she's an interesting case. She makes beautiful music. We know where all that music comes from. You know, we got the Summer Walkers, we got the Scissors, who, like, I love her. Like, we still have those women who are crooning, those Jasmine Sullivans that are still out there singing about whether it's heartache or being in love. They still have a license to sing that way. The men almost don't. So I'm very interested to hear the artists that, you know, definitely come out to, you know, really debut or show off what they can do in their music, because I'm excited to hear them, personally speaking, especially if it's a throwback. Like,
but I may have to prolong it a little longer. It might be till June 10th. You know what I'm saying?
That's fine.
That I want it to be special. There's some I may have to reach out to that are pretty amazing. They have the most amazing voices. I'm gonna post them too. I'm gonna definitely post Monday. Like, here's some R&B crooners you guys need to check out that are in the 2000s. There's one guy. It's it's a weird name, but it's a movie that Zendaya was in a part of. It was on Netflix. Zendaya and I should shame of myself. Denzel Washington's son. I forgot.
Okay, I know the movie you're talking about.
Now that artist, he has an amazing voice, amazing tone, and it's different. And I'm gonna reach out to him as well, because I would love to interview him. And I think his style of R&B is very different. You know how Maxwell, we all know Maxwell, the high soprano, Mr. Ballad. And I told him when I quit crushing on him, then I will interview. So I told him, because I told him I wanted to interview him, and this man has like 1 million views, but he's the most humble and kind person. He said, you ever contact my manager? I said, when I stop crushing on you and be like Google Eye, then I will. I said, I will interview you. I said, this is crazy because you like the modern day Maxwell. And he looks like Maxwell. He's a younger version of Maxwell.
Right.
And he's just very well-mannered guy. And it's nice. It's refreshing. And I just want to be on point.
Right.
And I interviewed him because there's so much about this person. I mean, he sings and he has a rose in his hand. I mean, he's an amazing singer, and the men and women love him.
Definitely a throwback.
Great. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love some good music.
Yes, he's on Twitter, and he spends a lot of time on Twitter, and they love him. And I see why. And he's different. So those are some artists that, I don't know, I may ask him maybe to help me choose the winner. But I want it to be perfect and just the way how the women did. I want it to be memorable. And I'm not going to lie, it was a little difficult with the women too, because people... I don't know if it's our community or there's just so much going on. There's so many podcasts of men talking about women so much to the point where no one is interested in R&B music. I don't know. I don't want to say that they're not interested, but I know there are a lot of people that are interested in R&B. It scares me because I don't become numbed to the point where I can't identify it.
Oh, no, I totally understand what you're saying. I think, well, one, you and I both know drama sells and drama gets eyeballs and listeners, unfortunately. So that is, I think, partially why we've seen that explosion of, and again, I'm not saying some conversations aren't needed, and they are, especially with the way things are and whatnot. However, you can't have conversations without resolution, and all you get is drama, no resolution, no moving forward. And that really sucks up the air for everything else is out there. Yes. The beautiful thing about the internet is there's so much out there. The bad thing about the internet is there are only certain aspects that really draw people in. So everything else kind of gets left by the wayside. So I totally understand what you're saying. Even myself and just my content consumption, I am moving away from a lot of things I used to simply because I need to find something different. I need to watch something, or I'm tired of this, or these people, regardless of what it is, like it's the same thing. Every show, every conversation, every podcast, you're talking about the same video games. Like it gets so monotonous. And the one thing about music, especially with a lot of the music that I follow, or musicians and people talk about music is always changing. There's always something new. There's always a new artist, especially, you find things that really align with what sort of music you like. Right.
That's true. That's very true. Well, I can't wait till, the guys bring it. There's a couple of artists that are here in Arizona that are very talented. There's one artist by name of Lee Water. We're going to go live next Saturday, and talk about, the contest. And he's kind of tagged and reached out to me and let me know, like, hey, I know some R&B singers, because they have a club here called Poetic Soul. And a lot of these artists go to these open mic nights. I've been there one time. And it was okay. Needs some work. The place is nice. The ambiance is perfect. It's missing good music. I don't want to say that Arizona's not the place for music. And then I thought to myself, hey, wait, Latte, hold up. Now, you in Arizona, you can change that. So hopefully I can change that. We shall see.
All right. Well, I was going to ask you about that, but just in case for all you watching, because I don't know when you're going to be watching this, that Saturday she's talking about was Saturday, May 27th. So if you're watching before May 27th, which you video will drop before then. Make sure
Yep.
you check it out. If you're watching after, well, make sure to check her out on her recordings and her playbacks.
Yeah, I'm starting to utilize my YouTube more often. So
Right.
I've been posting. I post one about Mariba, this one singer. She's girl can blow, and she and I was shocked that folks were like, yeah, I got like a lot of followers after that. I was like, oh damn, it's Mariba. Like she's been around for a minute. I'm like, okay, let me post a little bit more. I just felt like YouTube, I get hard on myself. I'm like, if it's not live, no one's paying attention. And that's how I saw it, which is crazy because I don't like that. I don't like going live. I'm being honest with you. I really
understand. I totally understand that one. We had that conversation beforehand. But one of the things I found about YouTube, especially because I've had a YouTube page forever, and I probably posted sporadically over the past 10 years. But now one of the things I've seen, it's a real, even though you may not get, and we talk about the small follower counts, small view counts, you may not get 200, 300,000 on a view on a video, but you are able to start to build a fan base that way. And that's one of the things that I've seen, that there are individuals who find your content who then go to other platforms. And that's one of the things too about diversifying, and that's something you do very well, diversifying where your content is, because people on TikTok or Instagram may not see you on YouTube, and vice versa. And that's something I'm seeing a lot as well. But then they could go over to YouTube to see maybe some of your longer form stuff, or if they find you on YouTube, maybe go to TikTok to see, you live one day, or some of the more TikTok exclusive stuff, or even, finding more out about artists and going to Instagram to go to their various pages because of seeing you on YouTube. So there's really a cross-platform synergy there. I think you really have to utilize in today's day and age.
Yeah, that's true. And you definitely got to make time to post it.
Oh yeah, that's the hardest part.
Yes. I haven't posted all the women from the nominees. I'm like, okay, should I still post it? Even though
you still should.
So, okay, good. Because that's what I've been doing. I've been slowly, posting the women. And it's work. It's work, but I love it. I love it. And I just hope that folks understand how much I really enjoy listening to the music and helping them, reach their best potential, because some of them needed some work and some have really improved, throughout the years. And it's great to see that and to be a part of that as well. So, yeah.
All right. Well, Bourgeois Latte, I'm not going to hold you any longer. Let everyone know where they can find you on all of your platforms.
Look, I'm everywhere. I'm on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. So, and go to www.lattejavadrips.com. And if you want to listen to the radio, it's lattejavadrips.com/LJD radio. I'm going to start doing some email newsletters. You gave me some ideas that, whereas, especially the contestants from the Vibes of the Month, I'm going to contact those people that voted for them and send them information on what's coming up in the near future. That's a good idea. So,
well, you can find all of Bourgeois Latte's information down in the show notes. So click away, explore, buy merch, listen to good music, and support.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. You have a great day.
You too.
Now, that was my interview with fellow coffee enthusiast Bourgeois Latte. And with that, let's keep with the theme and continue talking about coffee. Now, one of the things or items in this month's Basil and Sage box was coffee from Mug Drugs, which I think is an absolutely wonderful name for a coffee company. In this case, it was a small packet of the OG coffee, which is their caramel. Was it caramel or caramel? I would say caramel. Sounds more fancy. Coffee. So I sampled this, use drip processing, so I didn't use any sort of press action, which I need to do because that'll probably give me a different flavor. But I really enjoyed it just straight black. The caramel flavor wasn't, I guess, really overpowering. It was very subtle, but it really got you on the back end as you were drinking coffee. You felt like it was such a full flavored coffee instead of a synthetic caramel coffee that has that caramel flavor right up front. But where it really excelled was when I threw some ice in it and some brown sugar to just making a real quick iced coffee. And let me tell you, that was so good. Like, the addition of the brown sugar really helped that caramel flavor really explode in your mouth on my taste buds. And it was such a pleasant, soothing, cool summer drink. Oh man, it was just so good as iced coffee. I'm gonna have to make more of it. It pales in comparison when you get something at a Starbucks or something like that. It's an iced coffee and has a caramel syrup in it. This just tasted really, really good. So that is my take on the OG coffee from Mug Drugs. And one thing I love is coffee. Another thing I love is fragrances. And let's talk about the carnivore of all carnivores, Tyrannosaurus Rex. Yes, sir. We're going back to Zoology Perfumes, someplace we haven't been in quite a while. And we're talking about Tyrannosaurus Rex. Now, with this fragrance, you're going to find top notes of bergamot, black pepper, fir, laurel leaf, neroli, and nutmeg. Heart notes of champaca, geranium, jasmine, osmanthus, rose, and ylang ylang. And then base notes of resin, cod, cedar, civet, frankincense, leather, patchouli, sandalwood, and vanilla. Now, this is a fragrance that, for some reason, that bay leaf, that black pepper, that fir, laurel leaf on the top really hit me when I first sprayed it. Something about the combination of those scents and spices really gave me an olive oil sort of smell. It wasn't a bad thing. It was just one of those things that was very unexpected. For me, as it went along, I don't get much of those base notes at all. And that's just maybe my nose and how it was very overpowering. So it's one of those things where I got a little bit of the rose and ylang ylang, but not a lot of that. More so the jasmine than anything. But it is defined as a smokiness, woody, resinous fragrance. That's really what I get from this. The resins, the cedarwood, the sandalwood, really, really, really are potent, as well as the frankincense for this one. So I really enjoyed it for that. I didn't get much of the animalics with the civet. That's just me personally, maybe a couple more wears, and I'll get different aspects of the fragrance, especially during the course of the day in different weather circumstances. So this is one you're going to find this for at 60 mLs. It's going to run you $210. So it is not for the faint of heart, both for your wallet and for your nose. But it is definitely one that I was a little hesitant, because I'd always heard that Zoology perfumes are just really potent and powerful, strong. And I tested rhinoceros before, and it was okay. It wasn't great. Definitely not one I've reached for again to take with me. But this is one that I'll definitely be wearing again. I'm very interested to see how it performs again and again and again. And I just love, I love incense. I love those incense notes, and the woodiness and the resinness with the incensey part of this really works for me. And I'm really looking forward, maybe not so much to the summer, but I can see me grabbing this during the wintertime and the colder weather, because I would really love to see how it would perform, and maybe I would get some different aspects of the fragrance with that cold cutting wind of the winter. So that's my take on Tyrannosaurus Rex from Zoologist Perfumes. And I talked about basil and sage earlier. Well, you can get a discount on your own box. Remember, these are all Black owned products from black-owned companies in a monthly gift box. And if you use the code Sartorial and Geek 10, you can get 10% off your first box. Or again, support me on Patreon, just $1 a month. You could be a patron of the podcast. Find me on Pete and Pedro. I should say, go to Pete and Pedro. Now, right now, they're currently phasing out one of their Perfumes Colognes King, which is a derivative, if I remember correctly, of Green Irish Tweed. I think I may be wrong on that one, but it is a Creed fragrance. So that is one of their not as best selling. So right now it's on discount for 25% off. And if you use the link in the show notes, you may be able to get an extra 10% off of that bad boy as well on purchase. And then try Dubby, energy drink you're tired of down in Monsters, Rock Stars, and Red Bulls. Try Dubby, get 10% off your first purchase with the code WebsterMan. Remember, I'm all over the internet. Make sure you check me out every week. My man Brian Saff on the NRW Checkpoint with Kuya P and Sean Mongold on KFAB Baby, the NRW Regional Podcast. Right here, of course, every single week. But of course, everything else, you can find me on Instagram at Webster Style Sartorial and Geek, TikTok _Webster Style, or X, Twitter, whatever Elon wants to call it nowadays, at Webster Style as well. Of course, anything and everything can be found at websterstyle.com. Drop me info. Drop me an email, not info. Drop me info at websterstylemagazine.com. I thank you again for your time. I thank you again for your listening in. Remember, stay safe out there and be blessed.
Tree Green Tuesday. Had to be Bow Tie Thursday. Had to be. White Wednesday? I know last time. Well, I wore polka dot. You didn't wear. Miss Million, them hills killing them, but I'm sure it's a Thursday. Bow Tie Thursday. Pasta cream in your heels looking sharp, babe. Acting like you don't know the rules up in the workplace. Must I remind you it was till on your birthday? Don't get me wrong, I think we killed in the birthdays. And you picked the hella fit for the church day. Let's say you picked the wrist game poet. Now you got the floor filled with bras that you purchase. Pick a color scheme that can match your berry corset. Get the berry cream, get the berry cream, get the berry cream. We'll make a little scene, cause no one man should have all that styling. Take it off, clothes on the floor piling. No one girl should fit it all in them jeans. So take it off and let me see what's under them seams. Cause no one man should have all that styling. Take it off, clothes on the floor piling. No one girl should fit it all in them jeans. So take it off and let me see what's under them seams. Let's see what it seems. If it is what it seems. Do it again. Not, chicks be looking thick leggings, you know what I mean? I don't know. Take a hint though, don't try to get me at a moment. Mint though, smoking hot, rocking this pin so thin. Tie hairline, looking like a stencil. Pimp, no lie, I'm sharper than a utensil. Instrumental, plain dang, homie. I was hoping we could walk out with that bang bang, honey. See them plain James, honey. Them lame friends, funny. We tell it fit it crazy like that thing came on me. Hey, mommy. Look a lady, main thing, want me on the scene. Fit popping like a main vein, running blood color lips, smashing with the hand. Clutch money, holding bag, kinda funny. Can you tell me what's the price tag of the Range Rover? Hang on me when we walking, looking Gucci like that thing sprayed on me. Walking with a limp like an ankle sprained on me. Yeah, I rock the cardigan. She don't really want me because one man should have all that styling. Take it off, clothes on the floor, piling. No one girl should fit it all in them jeans. So take it off and let me see what's under them seams. Cause no one man should have all that styling. Take it off, clothes on the floor, piling. No one girl should fit it all in them jeans. So take it off and let me see what's under them seams. Hey, let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Aim up and on the middle of my lawn. Aim up and on the middle of my lawn. Cause no one man should have all that styling. Take it off, clothes on the floor, piling. No one girl should fit it all in them jeans. So take it off and let me see what's under them seams. Oh, you wanted to? Oh, I completely read that wrong.